Hello. So I'm gonna. This is just an extra video I've made about the Guardian's quick cryptic crossword number 35 that was published on Saturday the 30th of November 2024. So I've got another video up that shows the solve, the live solve, but I felt a little bit unsatisfactory. What I've done at the moment is I've left it all blank so that I'm not spoiling it. If you haven't done the crossword yet and you intend to do the crossword, do not go any further on this video. But if you have, then you know, watch on. So all I'm going to do now is reveal all the clues and talk through the problem. So I got down to this clue here, 17, seabird and others going north, and I didn't know. I couldn't finish it. I have never heard of a skewer. I've been doing cryptic crosswords for 3 years, and I've never heard of a skewer. And then the others going north is auks, which AUK is a type of bird. Well, I have vaguely heard of that, so it's vaguely possible I could have got it. I did have the S for the others, but AUKS. I felt very unsatisfactory with this. So it's been on my mind. I've been to Park Run, I've done a 25-minute jog around, I've got a bad rib, I've got a bad hamstring, moan. But I like to try and be a bit positive about things. And I thought, well, what's happened here is that, in setting the crossword, masqueraders backed themselves into a corner with a K and an A. And there's no other words that fit that really, apart from the only one I could find was Skra, or I don't know if that's correct pronunciation, which is a city or town in southwest Malaysia, and then you could have arcs going back upwards, so boats going to southwest Malaysia. Might have been some kind of clue, I suppose, but probably unsatisfactory to most people as well. So the way out of this really would be to take out this word here, check, and then rethink what goes into that. And my first thought was, well, I suppose you could have Iowa, and then you could have credo going across here. Now the problem at this point is actually, and I hadn't realised this, is that on a normal crossword that would be fine. Credo is fairly good. You could have a commanding officer with a red inside it, blah blah blah, and you'd find a way to clue Iowa. But on the QC, the Guardian QC, there's only 4 clue types. Now how you clue Iowa, which would probably fit into might fit into a hidden word somewhere or something, isn't possible, because it can't be a word that goes upwards or backwards. It can't be a I don't think it's hard to make that into a double definition. It's not really a sound like. And what was the other type we had today? Didn't check. The other type was the charade, and again I can't really see a charade you can make out of that. So that's the problem that Masquerade has, is you can't use Iowa in there. So then I thought, well, okay, that doesn't work. What about, let's change this word, which was check. Maybe we can make it cheap, because actually if that's cheap, or cheap, you can do a sound like, you've got cheap, the cheap of a bird, and you've got cheap that's, is cheap and cheerful. So going for a song, cheap. Maybe somehow, I don't know, some kind of sound like could go in there. But then, what are we putting here? Because we've got SP, we've got P, and again no word really springs to mind for me on this. So then I was like, okay, well maybe that doesn't work, but what about, we could change that to cheat, and then that could become stower, and a stower is a Greek column, and I've seen that in cryptic crosswords. And cheat, well, cheat would be a good charade of cold and heat. There's some kind of temperature related charade going on there. But again, how do you then clue stower with those 4 clue types? And I think the answer is you can't. So at this point you're stuck, because you just can't do anything with that. And the problem is really this A down here. So I'm going to take that out for a moment and think, well, okay, maybe the way to go would have been to put spot here with cheap here, because spot and tops you can do as a reverse word. You've got cheap and cheap, or cheap, whichever cheap you want to put. And then here, okay, we've got top. Well, actually, if we begin to change things around here, we could have top. Top. What about top coat? Now that means Ghana's is now a problem, so we can't do Ghana. We could put in guano, which is bird stuff, and I've seen that come up in crosswords. But how do you clue that? Because the constructs of the QC are, there's only 4 types of clue today, and the 4 types we've chosen today are double defs. I can't think of an easy double definition. It can't be a reversal. There's no obvious charade there to me. And what was my other type? Remind myself again. Sound like. Guano doesn't really have sound like. So at this point we're now going to have to take out slight as well. Now, if we take slight out, we've actually got some good options. We've got Bravo, which is great. Bravo could be good because you've got bra, underwear, and VO, very old or something. It could be a charade in that way. But when I went looking for words here, and I went onto a crossword solver and put in that 6th letter, there is no word that begins with Bravo, has LBT in it, that came up. So we can't have that. So that also eliminates Beano as a possibility. Likewise, I think Idaho's out the window because I mean, you've got ID a ho. I suppose you could somehow make that something to do with stating about ID, and a ho as in hello. I don't know really. Again, bit of a tough one. Probably can't go down there. We tried guano. Excuse me. But the one word I did come up with that could fit in here is errato. Now, errato is one of the muses. It comes up a lot in crosswords, so it would be a useful one for beginners to learn. You've got era and to, so era as in an age, and to as in going to. So that would be an easy charade to put. So that just leaves us this now to fit. And when I looked up, there's about there's only about 10 words that fit here, and the only ones I really know are Albert, and Alberts are possible because you've got Prince Albert is was the other half, shall we say, the king. He wasn't the king, but Queen Victoria's king, so to speak, and an Albert watch chain. That, I think I've seen that come up in crosswords. So Albert's possible, or you could maybe somehow, I don't think you could do, because you could do something to do with Alberta, but I think again because of the type of crossword constraints we can't do a deletion, so that's out. So Albert is a possibility. Client, I'm not sure how you would clue that. Lean in CT, client, I can't think of sound like, so client probably doesn't work. Eldest, I'm not sure. Not sure about eldest. How do you clue that? Oldest, old and established. Oldest established. I mean, that'd be a great hidden word. But old established could be oldest, but it's kind of old established. If you're giving them old already, that's not much of a clue really. And the only other word really that fits that construct is fluent. You could have flu, and you could have ear, nose and throat department at the hospital. Maybe there's something you can do there. So yeah, that's it really. That was my thinking, was either you have fluent or Albert in there and you resolve the grid that way. But actually when you think about it, you realise how much of I began to realise how difficult this is, this setting to 4 clues only and coming up with words that people I know, because to get to that I've had to change cheap, spot, top coat, errato and Albert, so 5 of the clues. So a little bit of insight there into what setters are thinking and the problems they're facing. Let me know down in the comments if you can see a solution that kind of works. But I mean, I hope that's just kind of useful for people to think about and see. So thanks for watching.